Alright. Shalom. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Barakatah. Barakatah. To Barakia. Bakwaya. Akim. Bakar Kadash. May Yahweh Ba Hashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Bakar Kadash. Yahweh. This lesson is based on the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 lost sons of Jacob. Genesis 49 is different from Deuteronomy 33 because Genesis 49 is telling you the 12 tribes of their blessing and cursing, but Deuteronomy 33 is telling you just based on their heritage. So this is Genesis 49, the breakdown of the understanding of the 12 tribes of Jacob. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. The last days is the last kingdom that will be ruling. So this would occur because the Israelites would discontinue from their inheritance, which is Jeremiah 17:4. The Lord said what? That thou even thyself shall discontinue from my inheritance which I gave thee. And in a place where it wasn't said that you are the sons of God, there it should be said that you are the sons of God. So the sons of God, so Jacob, the sons of Jacob is the sons of God. Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Reuben, thou art my firstborn. Right, Reuben is the firstborn. That's the so-called Seminole Indian. Reuben is the Seminole Indians. He is my firstborn. He was the firstborn of the 12 sons. So he said, he my firstborn. So firstborn supposed to get the firstborn birthright. And the firstborn birthright is to be the largest tribe in Israel, which is what the Lord said with Reuben, because Reuben had sex, which is adultery. That's how you knew the law. The law was in the earth before the Egyptian captivity, because Jacob said, let Reuben, he had sex with he defiled Jacob's bed by having sex with one of his concubines, Jacob's woman. Now the sons of Reuben, this first Chronicles 5:1. Now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for the firstborn, so he supposedly got the firstborn birthright, like Jacob took from Esau. He sold from him for a pottage of red meat. He sold his birthright, and the firstborn birthright is to be the largest tribe, the largest person. Esau sold that birthright to Jacob in Genesis 25. So, but Reuben, now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn. But for as much as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph, right, which is the so-called Puerto Rican. That's why Ephraim means fruitful. Ephraim and Manasseh, but it's mainly talking about Ephraim because Ephraim means fruitful. A far rayam. It's in the Hebrew. It's of Alpha Resh him, with and beside and inside Alpha and Resh, and him is Ephraim, which is a far rayam, which is meaning fruitful, and that's talking about his seed line. He's fruitful and having children. The so-called Puerto Rican man. And so he lost his birthright because Reuben lost his birthright, the so-called Seminole Indian, because he had sex with Jacob, his father, Israel, the father of the 12 sons of Jacob, which is adultery. He supposed to be put to death for that. But in Deuteronomy 33, it tell you let him live from it because he committed adultery. Let Reuben live and not die, because adultery, he supposed to be put to death. That's according to Leviticus if a man and a woman be caught having sex with each other that don't belong with each other, the adulterer and adulteress supposed to kill. So Reuben supposed to got killed. But the Lord said, Reuben, thou art my firstborn, right? So he supposed to have the firstborn birthright. The sons of, right, but the birthright. For as much as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph, which is Ephraim, the son of Israel. And the genealogy is not to be reckoned after the birthright. So Ephraim, Reuben, the so-called Seminole Indian, which was the firstborn of Jacob, Israel, the Israelites of Jerusalem, who white people say they the Jews, their brothers of which the so-called white man in Jerusalem saying they Jewish, and they into Judaism, but Reuben is the firstborn, and they not the Jews. The Jews is short for Judah, which the tribe I'm gonna get to, the so-called African American Negro. But Reuben is a Seminole Indian. His birthright was taken and given into Joseph, which is the so-called Puerto Rican. That's First Chronicles 1:5, 5:1. Shalakia, sons of Joseph, the sons of Israel. Right, so his birthright was given to Joseph, which is Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Rican. That was the father. Joseph was the father of Ephraim and Manasseh. He is the father of Ephraim and Manasseh. Jacob's son, one of his sons, he named Joseph. He said Ephraim and Manasseh gonna be back, just how Reuben and Simeon is his sons. My might, right? He have that elderly spirit, his might. It was Reuben might. Reuben might is strength. He had that hardcore strength spirit to him because he was the firstborn and the beginning of my strength, right? The beginning of his strength. So Reuben is a warrior, and he was elderly. He was basically he had a elder spirit to him, a rough, hardcore spirit to him, and the beginning of my strength, right? The beginning of his strength, the beginning that, because the firstborn be the strongest normally, the excellency of dignity, right? Excellency of dignity. He got honor. He was honorable. Like the Reuben, the Seminoles, they got that chief spirit, the chief warrior spirit, elderly chief warrior spirit, the so-called Seminole Indians, which was with the so-called Native American Indians, and the excellency of power, right? He was they warriors. They was the first. Reuben is the firstborn, the so-called Seminole Indian. That's who the tribe of Reuben is, the excellency of power. So he excelled in strength, unstable as water, right? He was unstable by himself because Reuben is Reuben, he became unstable by himself because if he not under a rule, he if he not under of a rule, because he was an elderly, so he got in that spirit of not being the son of Jacob, because he's in that elderly spirit. So he had sex with he unstable as water. So he couldn't be the firstborn. He couldn't have the kingship either, to be a firstborn. He wasn't worthy to be the leader because he was unstable with his judgment. Thou shalt not excel, right? He wasn't going to excel. Reuben couldn't excel and get the firstborn birthright because of he was unstable in judgment, and because that's what God took for his life, for that he won't be destroyed, because the Most High said, he that committed adultery shall die, the adulterer and adulteress, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, right? He wasn't going to be excelling with his birthright. The Seminole Indians supposed to be the largest tribe of the children of Jacob, but Ephraim is, which means fruitful, the so-called Puerto Rican, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, and then defilest thou it, right? Defile it, adultery, commit ye not one of these things, for all these things is the nations committed, and they cast out before you. So defilement, adultery is unclean. A man's semen is in the same semen area where a woman, he have sex with a different woman, so that he defiled it. he went up to my couch, right? He had sex with Jacob's concubine in Genesis. So that's the tribe of Reuben, is the Seminole Indians. Simeon and Levi are brethren, right? They one and the same. Simeon and Levi, the tribe of Simeon, which is the so-called Dominicans and the so-called Haitians, and they on the same island right now. They on the same island right now, which is Espanola, which is the island of Dominican and Republic in Haiti. They one and the same. They're same ways, because Simeon mean hearkening, which is the Dominicans, and Levi mean joined to you. So when you hearing somebody can two walk together, say they be agreed. So they was one and the same. They hearken unto the higher figure. They was true brothers. They was true brothers, because they was in the spirit of hearkening unto the elder. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation, right? Instruments of cruelty. That was because the instruments of cruelty is the Santeria and voodoo. That's cruel. That's cruel, which is witchcraft, and that's sin against God's commandments. But the instruments of cruelty, they slaughtered these Africans, the so-called these Africans who had sex with their sister Dinah, and this in Genesis. And so they slaughtered the Hamites. They made them get circumcised as males, because they was uncircumcised, because that's what they was. They didn't have God's laws. No nation had God's rulership laws, was but the 12 sons of Jacob. He showed his word unto Jacob, and his statutes unto Israel. As for any other nation, he have not dealt with them. So Simeon and Levi, the so-called Haitians, they on the same island. Haitians and Dominicans are the 12. They are the 12 sons of Jacob. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. O my soul, right? O Jacob soul, his understanding. Come not down into their secret, right? Come not into their secret, because they did cruel things. They waited to them Africans get that was a cruel thing that they did. They wait till them get waited and plotted on them Africans to get circumcised to kill them. And that's cruelty, is that that voodoo, which is witchcraft. The Lord said, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." So his honor can be united in that, because Levi and Simeon was the southern northern kingdom. Levi consisted of the so-called African American Negroes, and Benjamin, the so-called West Indians, Jamaicans, and Haitians, was together in Jerusalem before they came on the slave trade. The transatlantic slave trade to the Western Hemisphere. They was on the west coast of Africa. So Levi and Simeon, they wasn't together. Simeon and Levi, Simeon is Dominicans. They came with the 10 tribes to the Western Hemisphere from the Assyrian captivity, which is in Second Esdras. Those are the 10 tribes, which was carried away by Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria. They left from them. So Simeon and Jacob, they on the same island, but they not united, because the Lord said, how great is it for brothers to dwell in unity. And the northern kingdom been away from Levi, because Levi been with Judah and Benjamin, which was still Jerusalem when they left and came to the Western Hemisphere. So they unite because they cruelty, the hatred that they have. Come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, my honor. Be not thou united, right? Be not thou united. Because the Lord said, well, brothers must be well with brothers in unity. So they not united on that island. The so-called Haitians and Dominicans it'd be fighting, because they both got that slaughtering, when they slaughter their enemy opponent, and they don't know that they brothers. So the Lord, Jacob said, don't be being united in that, because they was going to be united back. The sons of Jacob going to be united, according to how good is it for brothers to dwell. The Lord broke the staff of Judah, and the Lord broke the enemy of Judah and Ephraim. Ephraim shall not vex Judah, and Judah shall not envy Ephraim. So the Lord building, he said, but they shall ride, they gonna flow together. The Lord said, these are the 2 olive branches that stand before the Most High in the earth. The Most High God, the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So the Lord said what? For in their anger they slew a man, right? They slew Africans. They wait till they get this the rage. That's the rage of them when they have against their enemies. So for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down the wall, right? And in their flow they was true Israelites. They killed the Africans and they dig down the wall. They tore off the heads. The wall is talking about your border. They tore through borders. They tore through the heads of those border. They went and slaughtered the dude who had sex and all his brothers and all his head captains who had sex with their sister Dinah. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce. Right? So they anger gonna be a curse to them. Because it's fierce. The anger that they have is gonna be a curse. And that's what the Lord said in Deuteronomy 28, the curses, your ash shall be evil towards your brother. And they brothers and they angry at each other. And it be killings of Dominicans and Haitians in the island of Espanola. For it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob, right? That's why they divided. And they don't, no one noticing that they on the same island. And that's they their brothers. They the only, that's they brothers. And scatter them in Israel, right? Separate them in Israel. The Lord has separated them in Israel, because Simeon was on his left side and Levi was on his right side of Judah. All right, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Right? Why Judah is gonna be the praise? Judah is the so-called African American Negro. Simeon, the so-called Dominicans, and Levi, the so-called Haitians, and Reubenites is the so-called Seminole Indian. Judah is in Yahweh, which is let him handle it. That's the king, Yad Hey Vat Hey Delet, which is let him handle it. The kingship, the rulership, and it's gonna get to it. Thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Right? Thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Why that Judah is the praise of, because that's his name. Judah, the praise of Yahweh is Yah. He how he exists. He is praised. And the so-called African American Negroes, the direct image of the Most High God, the one true living God, the creator of heaven and earth. And so the Lord said, what? Thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise, because that's the tribe the kings come out of, the kings of Israel, from David, King David, all the way to Jesus the Christ, the King of Kings, is the king tribe. That's why all his brothers look to Judah as being the head, because he got the he got the head position, because the Lord said what the Lord said, put away Ephraim. He also, this Psalm 78 and 67. Moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph and chose not the tribe of Ephraim. Psalm 78 and 68. But chose the tribe of Judah, the Mount Zion, which he loved. So he said Judah as the headquarters. So Judah was the top tribe. He the king. Right, Judah the king. So yeah, Judah the king. That's King David lineage. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Right. So are he whom thy brethren shall praise, exalt. Praise means to exalt. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall exalt to the throne of Israel. The so-called African American Negro is the head tribe of the children of Jacob. That's why the Lord said he chose not Ephraim, because he had the firstborn birthright from Reuben. Reuben lost his firstborn birthright to Ephraim to be the fruitfulest tribe. Ephraim means fruitful. So he got the firstborn birthright, but Judah is the head tribe. So the Lord said what? Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. His brothers is the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. His brethren is Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Issachar, Zebulun, Naphtali, Benjamin, Levi. And they are he who he gonna exalt unto the throne. Because that's talking about King David lineage. Judah, King David was of the tribe of Judah. The lion of the tribe of Judah, of the stem of Jesse, That's where Christ's lineage comes from, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So Judah is the so-called African American Negro, and he the king of the nation of Israel, of the nation of the 12 sons of Jacob. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies, and his strength was in the neck of his enemies. The strength, the Most High strength, his strength was in the neck of his enemies because he was to their ways. The chief priest is the so-called the Sadducees, the Essenes, the Sadducees, the Essenes, and the Pharisees. That was the enemies of Jesus the Christ, Yahushua. Thy hand, so his strength was in the hand of in the neck of their ways of that enemy. He was always promoting the truth of the Bible, Jesus the Christ, to his enemies, those that opposed his rule, the chief priest. That's why he having treason. So Jesus Christ was of the tribe of Judah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. This is what this is talking about. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. His strength was in the neck. It was to the ways of their enemies, promoting the truth on them, to the chief priests, which was in Matthews, Luke, and Mark, and Acts, telling you about how Jesus the Christ preached the word, and the Pharisees and the Sadducees got him killed, a real so-called African American Negro. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Right? All the 12 tribes of the children of Israel are going to bow down to a so-called African American Negro, which tribe I'm from, of the tribe of Judah. Yahweh, I'm a so-called African American Negro of the tribe of Judah, of Yahweh, of the nation of Yasha'Allah, of the tribe of Judah, the head tribe of the children of Israel. Jacob, foreborn son, but he the head tribe. So the Lord said, what? Thou art he whom thy father's children shall bow before thee. They're going to bow before thee, submit themselves to the rule of God's commandments, which is the law, statutes, and commandments, his rulership, because he the king. The king tribe is Judah, because that's what King of Kings, Christ coming back, the tribe of Judah, the so-called Negro. Judah is a lion's whelp, right? Judah is a lion's whelp. Judah is a lion's whelp. Judah is a frisky lion. A lion's whelp is very frisky. And this was the tribe of Judah. From the prey, right? From getting preyed upon, he becomes real frisky and lion-like, a baby lion, because of the prey. They've been preyed upon. This talking about what? This talking about during the time of during the time of the Black Panthers. So the Lord said, what? Judah is a lion's whelp, right? Frisky. The Black Panthers was ready to take out the United States of America president and government, go into the government and fight with those FBI agents. From the prey, right? From the prey, from getting preyed upon. The white man murdering Israelites, murdering the so-called black man, beating them and killing them. From the prey. My son, thou art gone up, right? He went up from being a prey, but he went up into the prey. He went up into the prey, from the prey, right? From the prey. He coming from being preyed upon, not just tearing off the so-called white man. No, he from the prey, from the prey. He's getting preyed upon, getting killed and slaughtered. My son, thou art gone up, right? You stood up against the enemy. You stood up against you stood up against those that was preying upon you, which is the so-called white man. You gone up, you stooped low. The Black Panthers, this is what it's telling you, that the Black Panther, the so-called Negro, is the so-called Negro is the tribe of Judah. The Black Panthers was the tribe of Judah. So the Lord said, what? You stoop low. My son, thou art going up, went up into the prey. That's how a lion creep up on you. He stooped down, right? He stooped down, ready to tear the lion, because the lion stooped down. He walked low and crawled low. And when he down low, he jump out at you and then try to eat you and kill you. He stooped down. He couched as a lion, right? As a bold lion. That was the Black Panthers, the so-called Black Power movement in the 50s and the 60s and the 40s. He stooped down. He couched as a lion, And as an old lion, right, an old wasted away lion, he turned to. He turned around, turned to it. He put it off. He went into a more political vibration, more of a preacher vibration. But cause though he was in the Frisky, that was the descendants of the Black Panthers. They went into what? More of a political vibration. Reverend Ron Jackson and Geno Jennings, and they went into a more political when they was vibration. Who shall rouse him up? Right? Who shall rouse him up? Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt, and Egypt is spiritual America. And who shall rouse him up to tear off things? Because they made billions of dollars worth of damage during these raids that Black so-called African Americans doing in 2015 and in 2016. They was getting roused up because of Eric Garner, Trayvon Martin, and Freddie Gray. That's the tribe of Judah. The scepter shall not depart from Judah. Right? The scepter is the rulership. Scepter mean rulership. It shall not depart from the tribe of Judah. Why? Because that was that's what retained the southern kingdom of Israel. The northern kingdom left and went through the Euphrates River onto the western hemisphere. So the only three tribes was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which is who the Lord gave to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, because of his daddy, because Solomon sinned, and there was only three tribes left: Judah, Benjamin, Levi. So the scepter is the rulership of Judah, shall not depart, shall not be gone away, shall not be done away with, nor a lawgiver, from between his feet, between his position, until Shiloh comes. Shiloh is Christ. Until Shiloh comes, which it means Shiloh means peace, Prince of the Peace. Shiloh come until Jesus came and left. That's when 70 AD. That's talking about 70 AD when Jesus Christ left out and went into the so-called UFOs. The rulership wasn't the rulership of the north of Judah wasn't done away with until Shiloh, Jesus the Christ, came. This Zechariah. This is Zechariah. Zechariah. The Lord said what? This is Zechariah. Woe to the idol shepherds. And those the Levites, the chief priests. They the idol shepherd. They was into idolatry, Roman paganism, with speaking the Bible, the Essenes and the Pharisees. Woe unto them. The Lord said destruction, that leaveth the flock. They left the flock of God, his chosen people, the so-called African Americans, Negroes, and Jamaicans that was only in Jerusalem and living in the Middle East, the so-called, what a white man, Jewish, in the so-called Middle East, their land. The sword shall be upon his arm and upon his right eye, right, upon his army. So the Romans killed them. And upon his right eye, what his righteousness of his right understanding, what he think is, according to the Pharisees and Sadducees and Essenes, but it wasn't, because Christ spoke the truth. They didn't and they couldn't get it. It wasn't given for them. And his right eye shall be utterly darkened, right? He went out of rulership. He had no understanding when the Romans came and destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD. That was until Shiloh came, Jesus the Christ, the Prince of the Peace. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be, right? Jesus the Christ is the gathering of the people. That's who we going to gather in. The spirit of Jesus the Christ, Yahushua, for the remission of sins. Repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So Jesus the Christ, Yahushua, is the Son of the Most High God. And to him was the gathering of the people be. Because he was a Prince of the Peace. He spoke what? For the new covenant. He shed his blood for the new covenant. And that's gathering the northern southern kingdom back unto God's commandments. Binding his forehead unto the vine, right? Bowing his forehead unto the vine. He took hold of the sacrifice that the Lord had set up for him. He said, I come to do thy will, O God, it is written of me. And his ass's coat unto the choice vine, right? And that's the doctrine. The wine, his ass's coat, right? His position, his strength. He gave his strength unto the will of the Lord, to do the will of God, to die. He washed his garments in wine, right? In doctrine, he washed his covering, and he washed his covering. His garments is his covering. Blessed is he that keep his garment, lest he walk naked. And wine is doctrine. Thou hast made us drink the wine of astonishment. So Jesus Christ washed his garments in the will of the Lord by dying and rising. And I sanctified them. That's John 17. John 17. And for their sakes, and this John 17 and 19, and for their sakes I sanctify myself. Right, so he cleansed himself. That's what it means when it say what? He washed his garments in wine, right, in the doctrine of the Lord and the will of God, according to the sacrificial sacrifice that he died and shed his blood for the remission of sin. And for their sakes I sanctify myself. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. Through the word of the will of the God of the Bible, Yahweh of the creation of the heaven and earth, that they also might be sanctified through the truth. Right. So he sanctified the disciples and those that believe on him, or the so-called African Americans, Negroes, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native American Indians, or the elect of the 144,000 that's going to believe and sing that song pursuant to Revelations 14 and 4, binding his right and his clothes in the blood of grapes, right? He is covering in the blood of grapes, the doctrine of God, so that he can take hold to the rulership of the nation of Israel. His eyes shall be red with wine, right? His understanding was red, was darkened, was wicked, because he had to take on all the sins of Israel. And the Lord said, though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be white as snow. So his eyes, his understanding shall be red as scarlet with wine. The doctrine is wine. And his teeth, his strength, white is pure. So he took away his sins by dying and rising, white with milk. And milk is the law, statutes, and commandments. That's the milk. That's the tribe of Judah, the so-called African American Negro. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, right? The haven of the sea is talking about Guatemala to Panama. It's the Panamanians, the native Panamanians, and the native Guatemalans is the descendants of Zebulun, is the Balawan of the 12 lost tribes of the children of Israel, because a haven of the sea, and that's for the ships, the Guatemala and Panama Canal. He gonna be for a haven of ships. I mean, he gonna dwell in Central America, right under Issachar, shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, right? Park ships. Haven of ships is a haven, is a bunch of, like a hive, a beehive of bees, but it's a haven of ships. So a bunch of ships cross throughout the Panama Canal, and his border shall be into Zidon. His border gonna be like Zidon, which Zidon is in the Middle East, which is it's a border. It's the seashore. It's next to the seashore. That's what Guatemala and Panama at, next to the seashore, where they pass by doing trade deals and trade routes. That's Zebulun, the so-called native Panamanians. Issachar is a strong ass, right? Issachar is strong. They are strong as, like they are strong worker. They work a lot, couching down between two burdens, right? And he couched down. He submitted himself unto his strength, unto working, doing jobs, building houses, and he saw that rest was good, right? And he saw that he saw that confidence is good. Confidence in working was good to him, and the land that it was pleasant, right? And the land doing jobs is pleasant to him, and bow his shoulder to bear, right? He bowed his strength to the ways of working, and became a servant unto tribute, right? That's a servant. He became underneath somebody for the least amount of pay, which is the so-called Mexican man, the so-called Mexican man, the so-called Mexican Latino man. He worked for cheap pay him half. He bare his shoulder to become that a low wage worker. of laborer. Dan shall judge his people. Right, Dan shall judge his people. Dan is in Judges, the tribe of Dan, in 18, and Dan shall judge his people because he had left his inheritance according to Judges 18. The Danites, they are amongst the so-called Cubans today, because those are the 10 tribes. It was 3 tribes in Jerusalem, so the 10 tribes came to the northern western hemisphere, and they amongst Manasseh, because Manasseh increased from Bashan, and uh uh Dan leaped unto Bashan. So they became one tribe, Dan and Manasseh, which is Danites is amongst Manasseh. So Dan shall judge his people, because in Judges 18, Dan was getting idols from Levites pursuant to Judges 18, and tried to set their own rulership up under Judah. I mean, with without the split that the Lord made with Ephraim, they tried to take on them the head tribe, and they in Judges 18, and they got the idols and the priesthood. They tried to take the priesthood hold to them. But the Lord wasn't dealing with Dan, so Dan lost his heritage. They lost their heritage and went to another land, and then jumped and went into the tribe of Manasseh, because the Lord done away with Dan. So he was a judge of the people. He tried to set up his judgment like Judah, from Judah throne, which is the king's tribe, as one of the tribes of Israel, right? As one of the tribes of Israel. Why? Right? Because one of the tribes of Israel, which is trying to be a ruler over the nation of Israel, from that tribe, Dan shall be a serpent by the way, right? And he was in wickedness. He was trying to set up idols. The Danites, 600 Danites was trying to set up idols and the chief priest to rule under his rule, but the Lord wasn't dealing with him. And an adder in the path, right? He added to God's laws. He tried to add to the Most High's commandments. That bited the horse's heel, right? He bited the strength. The wickedness of a woman abided the strength. So Judah, he tried to take Judah lineage out and be the head tribe of the children of Israel, so that the rider shall fall backwards, right? Those that went back, he was a serpent, because he tried to make Israel go backsliding, which is into wickedness, and be the top tribe. That was Dan. That's Judges 18. It tell you about how the 600 Danites tried to come to a Levite so that you could set up idols in their own tribe and rule Israel. I have waited for thy salvation, O Yahweh. So Dan waiting on the salvation of the Most High, which is amongst Manasseh, because Dan lost a heritage with the tribe of Israel from leaving their heritage and saying that they was under the priesthood themselves, that they was on the priesthood by themselves. That's in Judges 18. Gad, a troop, right? Gad is a warrior. He a troop. He obey the will of warriors, like a warrior, like military. He a military combatancy, the so-called Native American Indians. Gad is the so-called Native American Indians. But a troop shall overcome him, right? What? The U.S. cavalry overcame him by slaughtering off the Native American Indians. The U.S. cavalry making treaties but not fulfilling them. And they overcame him, but he shall overcome at the last, right? Because he gonna get the victory through Jesus the Christ. The Lord said what? But he shall overcome at the last, right? The last, because the last is the last days, because he getting his nationality back. Because Christ, Jesus the Christ, he that overcometh and keepeth my works, he that overcomes sin, wickedness, gay sex, lesbianism, transgenderism, cross-dressing, murdering murdering your people, promoting gay sex on blacks, Latinos, Native American Indians, doing gay sex, sin, murdering. And he that overcome that and keep his works is the work that the Lord gave. I come to do thy will, God's written of me, God's law, statutes, and commandments through the Levitical Torah. So God gonna overcome at the last, because he rising back to his inheritance. Because when he was getting killed and slaughtered, they didn't think of them being Gadites. They was, but they turned into the Most High, the stronghold. Out of Asher, his bread shall be fat. Right, that's South America. Damn near 65% of the world's trading route is coming from Colombia, coming from South America. That's Asher, the so-called Colombians to Uruguay. Gad is the so-called Native American Indians. They the tribe of Gad are the sons of the children of Israel from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the descendants of the Holy Bible. Their holy brothers is in the Bible. They the one wrote the Bible. Haitians, Jamaicans, Puerto Rican, Mexicans, Seminole, and Native American Indian root the holy scriptures of all existence. So Asher is the so-called Colombian to Uruguay. Asher, his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties, right? Because royal dainties is what kings eat, king's desserts, different king desserts, high costing desserts of pies and stuff that come from South America. Naphtali is a hind let loose, right? Naphtali is the so-called Argentinians to Chilean. They the hind let loose because when the Spaniards came, they fled into the mountains. It's a very mountainy top place in Argentina. And they was a hind let loose. So they was peaceful, but they was let loose because they fled. They was gone and they was swift. They was swift on their feet. And they was swiftly to get away from the Spaniards. So they didn't get slaughtered like the Native American Indian was, which is North America, which is in America. The genocide of Native American Indians, they was in South America. So they just like Gad, they look just like them. And they shorter like Issachar. Some of them tall, but they the tribe, they were fringes with borders of blue. Naphtali, he give it goodly words, and them goodly words is Ola Fiesta. Ola Fiesta. How you Ola is hey, Fiesta is like feast, like a feast. Is hey and feastful. They are cheerful people. Joseph is a fruitful bow. This time out so-called right, Naphtali is the native Mapuche Indians. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by right. Joseph is a fruitful bow, and a bow is your strength, your military. It's talking about your strength, which is the sons. So Joseph, the so-called Puerto Rican man, and the Cuban man is very fruitful, mainly the so-called Puerto Rican man. His bow, and that's your military, because the Lord said his bow was exalted above the bows, which is Ezekiel 31, talking about the Assyrians. So that's your military. Even a fruitful bow, right? A fruitful bow, a extension of major sons. The so-called Puerto Rican man is the largest tribe. He got the firstborn birthright from Reuben to be the largest tribe in Israel. That's what Jacob got, because there's more Israelites than it is the so-called white man, Edomites. So the white man sold his birthright to be the largest nation, which the nation of, and that's the largest tribe in Israel is Ephraim. Ephraim got the birthright from Reuben. From Reuben sinning, committing adultery. The so-called first Seminole Indian committed adultery with Jacob, a real man, the descendants of God's chosen people. So Joseph got the firstborn birthright, which is Ephraim, meaning Afar Rayam. Afar Rayam, which is Alpha father, Alpha's father, his waters is his covenant of the waters, like, because that's what Reshem is head, yeah. So Alpha head waters. So he the head of the waters, and your waters is your seed line. It's talking like Judah, out of the waters of Judah. So Ephraim is a fruitful bow, whose branches run over the wall. Whose branches, right, his extension of his sons ran over the wall, which is surpassed Spain, the enemy, the wall, the head, the so-called Spaniards. The archers have sorely grieved him. The archers is the white man. They grieved his lineage because they couldn't beat Ephraim and how he reprocreating his sons. How much sons that they was having. They killed them. The Spaniards. They hated the northern kingdom of of Ephraim. The archers have surely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. Right? They hated him. They hated him. But his bow abode in strength. Right? But his bow, his strength, abode in strength with the Most High God. Because that's Ephraim. That's the tribe of God's chosen people. So the white race couldn't take out all the Latinos and try to have sexual intercourse with their wives. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms, his strengths, his arms of his hands were made strong. Right, his strength of his strength, which is the Most High God, was made strong by the hands of the mighty God. So he reprocreated still more than the white race. The so-called Puerto Rican man, then the Spaniard white man, he reprocreated still by the Most High, the mighty God of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, right? Because he was the top tribe of Ephraim, of the northern kingdom, which Dan tried to be, but he went amongst Manasseh. So from thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. So he the stone of Israel, the shepherd, the head tribe of the northern kingdom was Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Rican man, Afarayim, which came. That's why, because he had the firstborn birthright of Israel, not Judah, because the Jews was called Yehudis, or Yehudis, which is Jews under Benjamin and Levi, the so-called Jamaicans, Haitians that came on the ships with the so-called African American Negroes. But the northern kingdom, the 10 northern kingdom, that's who does the head of Ephraim, the stone. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, right? Who shall be for you? Who shall make you be for what he made you? Because the Spaniards tried to take out the native Taino Indians. They called Taínos, the tribe of Ephraim, so-called Puerto Ricans. And by the Almighty, which is the Most High God, who shall bless thee with the blessings of heaven above. Right, and that's talking about the fruitfulness from the blessings above, which is from the above, which is the strength from the sun and the moon. And the fruit, that fruitful how Puerto Rico is. That's why it's called Rich Port, because it's very fruitful, that island. Blessings of the deep that lieth under. Blessings of the deep that lieth under, and the grass that grow. Blessing of the breasts, right, nourishment from the rain, and the grass, and breast is nourishment, and of the womb, right, of the womb have sex. He was blessed of the sex of his sex. Out of he had multiple babies, the Puerto Rican. The blessing of thy father have prevailed above the blessing of my progenitor. The blessing of thy father, right, because Joseph blessed Ephraim, and the blessing that the Lord gave to Reuben, it prevailed more than the origin of what the Most High said, because Jacob blessed Ephraim and said, what? And Joseph fell upon his father's face, and Joseph commanded, right? So Joseph, he blessed, Jacob blessed Joseph with the firstborn birthright, and told him, but he shall be a larger nation before he died. So that was the blessing that he said that prevailed more than his blessing, which is the order of what he's going to cause Reuben to be. Reuben lost his birthright. The blessing of thy father have prevailed above the blessing of my progenitors, right, of his set order, because Reuben was the firstborn, so he supposedly got the firstborn birthright, but Ephraim got it because it was fulfilling the prophecy of the term Ephraim, of Farayim. Unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hill. So Ephraim bound to the fruitful nature of God's commandments. They shall be on the head of Joseph, right? The head of Joseph. The head of Joseph. That's his reprocreating cycle. And on the crown of the head of him, right? This was going to be situated on him that was separated from his brothers, right? Joseph, Ephraim, he's separated from his brothers. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. So Joseph is the so-called Cubans and Puerto Ricans. They got the same flag but different colors. That show that they brothers. Joseph and Ephraim. Ephraim and Manasseh, the so-called Cubans. Manasseh is the so-called Cubans. And that's what tribe Dan is amongst, the so-called Cubans. Ephraim is the so-called Puerto Ricans. And Benjamin shall raven as a wolf, right? He gonna raven howl at the moon, howl at the nighttime. He gonna howl at the light at nighttime. And that's howling at those that's looked to as the light, the Luciferians, the so-called the so-called white man, which is the Caucasian race. A wolf in the morning he shall devour the prey, right? So morning, noon, and night. Morning and at night he shall divide the spoil, right? So morning, noon, and night he chanting down the so-called white man. That's the so-called Jamaican man. The so-called Jamaican man is the tribe of Benjamin. West Indian, Barbados, Caribbean islands is the Jamaican so-called Rastafari males is the tribe of Benjamin, Banyamya, and the son of my right hand. So he chanting down, he saying he devouring the prey with his mouth. He's saying down to Babylon, way down. We gonna return to Zion from Babylon. He said down with Babylon, way down with Babylon. The so-called Jamaican man. When Bob Marley said we leaving this land Babylon and we going to our father's land. And that's the motherland, which is Ephesians 4:26. Jerusalem, which is above, is free. Speaking upon Jerusalem, the Israelites. And with that, all praise, honor, and glory, that's to the 12 tribes of the children of Jacob is, and that's who they always going to be. Shalom.